Hey guys, I've had something on my heart recently that I've been wanting to do and like kind of prayerfully considering for about a week or two now. And especially after some time in prayer and like kind of with what's happened recently with some of the members of our community, I felt this was as good of an opportunity and as important of an opportunity to share this than any. What I'm like going to be going through today is like my personal testimony when it comes to knowing Jesus. And I hope that I hope and pray that this is something that really kind of speaks to your heart. And if you have any questions at all about what it is that I've said or want to know more about like knowing Jesus personally after this, be sure to reach out to me. It would bring me so much great joy. And with that, let's go ahead and hop into it. So, kind of starting back around high school, I grew up in like a church attending family and kind of knew the answers, like who Jesus was and like kind of what he did, like the whole thing about the cross and him coming, being born in a manger and all that good stuff, and thought that was enough for a lot of my life. And I was actually went up during an altar call at a local church when I was around eighth grade, freshman year of high school, and just kind of went up there because I thought that's what you did. I didn't really understand like any implications and there was no like surrender to Jesus or anything like that. And nothing really happened. Like my life didn't change and I just continued living like that. So I kind of lived under this illusion until I was a senior in high school and getting ready to leave for college. And once I got to college, I kind of was free to explore the world for myself for the first time. And I did the normal college thing and kind of like uh, got into partying a little bit and like ended up joining a fraternity and like a really good group of guys that I'm very happy to have interacted with in my life. Like I love those guys still to this day. But I just kind of started falling into some bad habits like drinking and smoking and stuff like that. And very quickly, by the end of my first semester of college, I started to know something was wrong, something was missing. And I went to the doctor and was diagnosed with depression and anxiety at this time. And in 2 months, it progressed to the point where I actually attempted suicide um, in that February. So, February, my freshman year. And at the hospital, I was diagnosed with anxiety, major depression, bipolar disorder, and OCD, like all four at once. Put on like the max antidepressant that you can be put on, like the max dosage, and stayed on that for a year and a half. And after I got out of the like mental hospital, I um, started smoking a lot, like smoking weed. And I know that's kind of like a lax thing in today's society, but I got like addicted to the escapism of it and ended up like progressing to the point where in a semester, like so fast forward to like spring semester of my sophomore year of college, I spent like 4 grand on it and like failed all but two of my classes and like my life was completely like in shambles at this point. Like I was dealing with suicidal ideation at this point still. Like I never really got over that. That was just something that I dealt with and just that was just my life. And I kind of accepted that that's what my life was going to be for the rest of my life. And it was torture. Every day was a struggle to just get up and move and get out of my room. And it was just miserable. Like the the first 2.5 years of college for me were the worst years of my life. And I ended up this past fall dropping the fraternity before, like right at the beginning of the school year. Not really sure why at the time. Just something that I felt like kind of led to do. And then I was like completely on my own, just about because I'd left everything that I put my value and identity in at that time, and I was just lost, man. I had nowhere else to turn, or so I thought. And like God began to work in my life in that time, kind of like asking more about church, asking one of my good friend Logan Spears about it, and like kind of got directed towards a church in Lexington, and ended up coming back home for my sister's homecoming. And on September 22nd of 2019, that's when it all changed, and I gave it up during a service at Caney Creek Church in Pikeville, Kentucky, and just gave my heart over to Jesus. Like I just asked him to come into my life. Like during the sermon, they were talking, like during the altar call, they were just talking like come, like you can have this better life. Like all it takes is just like believing and receiving, like just praying to Jesus, like to come and change your heart. And that's what I did. And it really was that simple, but it's that step of obedience that matters. And instantly, like I went home that day, like back to Lexington to my apartment and threw everything away. Like I never had the desire, and still haven't to this day had the desire at all for weed or any of that. And 2 days later, I went to the like therapist that I've been seeing for 2 years, and she said, like, I don't know what you did for yourself, but you're completely clear. Like I was instantly taking off medications, like every bit of the mental disorders, all four that I've been on, like the max dose of antidepressants for 2 years, gone. Like Jesus healed that for me. And that's what I told her. I was like, it was nothing that I did. It was all like by the grace of God that I'm here talking to you and just like able to be healed in this way. And that's kind of the main point of this message. Main point of me making this video is just to share this like change, like this story of life change. Because I mean, I left a lot out. I was a pretty bad person, especially in the past 2 years. There's a lot of things that I have done that most people don't know about, that just horrible things. And like Jesus chose and like saved me, and that's all. Like that's for everybody. Like all that call upon the name of the Lord will be saved. And in Romans 9 and like 10:9 to 10 says, because if you confess with your mouth that Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it with the heart one believes and is justified, and with the mouth one confesses and is saved. And it's really, I mean, it's that simple. Like just calling upon Jesus and asking him to come into your heart and changing your life forever and saving you from, because we're all born sinners. We all are sinners, and the wages of sin is death. And we're all born into this world like that. And without a time of confession, like without receiving Jesus in this way, I mean, we're destined for hell. And I know it kind of sounds harsh, but it's as simple as just receiving Jesus in this way. And even though it's like sounds so simple, it's also important because of the things I've stated. And I'm just here as kind of like, as Paul talks about in First Timothy, like kind of like as one of the foremost of the sinners before, like God has like just displayed his grace and glory through by changing me forever. And I just here like with this story for this reason to share this with you guys. So I like being able to smile for the first time in 2 years, bringing me to a great community where I've experienced such great growth at the BCM and like Centerpoint, and just so many other things that like God has done and just blessed me with in this life. And it all started with just asking. I can't promise miraculous healing like I had. I can't promise prosperity. I can't promise all these things, but I can promise that calling upon Jesus and just asking him to come into your heart will change your life forever, especially for the eternal part of things, guys. So yeah, this is just me being vulnerable and sharing myself, guys. And like I said, if this moved you, if this moved in your heart, this kind of edifies you in any way, share this, whether it's on Facebook or Instagram. Got to figure out how to post it to these, but and if you have any questions, or like you're kind of figuring out this whole Jesus thing, or you want to know more, or you want to just kind of explore the Bible with somebody, hit me up. Like I don't care if we've never even spoke. Like that's what I'm here for. And I would once again just love to do nothing more. So yeah, love you guys.